There are a lot of relationships where men just daily wake up and feel disgust from their woman, like towards them from their woman, disappointment, frustration. The man can never do anything right. It's always nagging. I've asked you to do this 40 times. I don't understand why you can't just fucking do it. This is why my husband and I are so set against, we don't need internet friends. We don't randomly add people you may know on Facebook. Well, October of last year, I cheated. I never met the woman or anything. We were Facebook friends and started chatting. I am the happiest I've ever been in my life. Even with my mental illnesses and my depression and the thoughts of unaliving myself, I have never been more content. Ever.
Right.
I didn't think I would live to be this age. And here I am fucking happy. Are you kidding me? Tell that to 13-year-old me. She wouldn't fucking believe it.
And we are back.
We're back.
Episode 45. Good?
I'm good.
We have not done this in a hot minute.
It's been a few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. As of tomorrow, we won't be ahead anymore. Or Monday, we won't be ahead of podcasts.
I believe that. Life has been nonstop. I still need to work on the second episode of The Black Rose.
Yeah. Yeah, for Thursday.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be tomorrow dedicated. Research.
Those episodes, that Emily Rose episode that you did, or Gypsy Rose, what's her name?
Rose.
Who's Emily Rose?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I think it's an Exorcist movie, The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Oh yeah, I think Emily Rose was the person.
I don't know.
What about the episodes?
That episode did really well. People really enjoyed that.
That's crazy to me.
Why?
I watch a lot of murder podcasters like Bailey Sarian, and there's this new one that I'm watching. I don't particularly enjoy her. It's just somebody new and it's different information she's giving. She does like international, Korean, Chinese, Japanese murder mysteries. So I'm more intrigued by that. But listening to people who have millions of subscribers doing their murder podcasting, like they have whole productions for that shit.
Yeah.
I just don't feel up to par. I feel, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah, it's relatable though, because it is small. People relate to that shit.
Yeah. I mean, people are telling me they enjoyed it. Our kid's stepmom said that she really enjoyed it because of the way that I articulate myself. I went more in depth than other people have about that case. That was just one episode. I'm thinking this might be 3 or 4 parts.
Yeah.
To cover the whole case.
Well, it would be cool. The request in Discord was that the next episode you do that I overlay
images.
Yeah, and news articles and shit like that. So I think what's going to happen is when you record it, I'm going to submit it to the people behind the screens that watch and do that shit with us.
And find the photos.
And have them find the photos. Like, hey, give me timestamps and what you think I need to lay in. That way they're involved in the production, but it also helps me because I don't know anything about these cases.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not a murder mystery guy.
And that saves me hours of research and finding photos and compiling them in the drive and shit.
Yeah. So, and they'll get early release content for their work.
I appreciate our Discord.
Yeah, we got a dope little community over there.
I do.
So this episode is brought to you guys by To Be Better Brew. We have created our own coffee. I'm a big fan of the pecan pie.
I like the French one so far.
Yeah?
Yeah. I want to order a couple of the other ones. My aunt tried the Guatemalan.
Yeah.
She was very highly impressed.
Sean had the Guatemalan too.
Yeah.
He
was
loves
like,
it.
I didn't know what to expect. She was like, it was very smooth, very rich. And she was like, for the price comparison, because she's very bougie, she was like, it's pretty much on par with every other coffee that I order.
Yep.
I was like, okay, word.
Yeah, the price per serving is actually cheaper if you order it than it is if you buy it from the store.
Yeah.
So
and it is. We do sell whole beans and ground coffee.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure there's K-Cups on the website too, but I don't know.
We also have teas.
Yeah, and free shipping.
I love that.
I love free shipping too. I love free anything. So today is Friday. The episode with Conservative Ant dropped today. That got a lot of, like, I would say, like, somebody in the chat said 70-30, 70% people enjoyed it, 30% were triggered. And I was like, only 30%, we got to get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
But I wonder who was triggered.
I don't know. I missed the first hour and 25 minutes. And when I popped in, there were people arguing over pronouns. I don't give a shit about any of that or the argument involved in it.
That wasn't even topic of conversation.
No, I think it was because of his shirt. It says, I do not identify.
You know, he actually clarified what that meant. In the podcast.
It's that he doesn't care about pronouns.
Well, it's not just the pronouns. It's the Democrats and the Republicans and all of that. He does not identify with anything. News organizations, propaganda, thought processes.
Yeah. Yep. So that's what I jumped in on. People arguing over that dumb shit. And I was like, just call everyone fucker.
Yeah.
It's universal. No one can get offended. And if they do get offended, it's because you called them a fucker.
Mm-hmm.
And then call them a see you next Tuesday so they have a reason to be offended. Yeah. Because fucker is a term of endearment. Ask Dakota. He made an entire video about it. And I get text messages, what's up, fucker? And I'm like, what's up, fucker? I know. There's a whole lot of F words there. Got to stop that now. So, episode 45. We are 5 episodes away from episode 50, which will be a big milestone for us. 52 will be 1 year of episodes.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Aren't there 52 weeks in the year?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yep. We obviously made extra episodes at one point in the beginning. We weren't just doing weekly podcasts, but yeah, December 17th marks 1 year. I have Sam Alvey coming next week. He's the former UFC fighter. He now fights in another organization. I can't remember the name of it. It's like, I don't know. Anyways, he's coming down next week. Dakota will be here Monday with the dog, so we get to meet the dog and all that fun shit.
About that. I'm excited for the kids to meet her too.
Me too. And then we have Matt Bell coming in November, and then we got Troy from Change Unchained coming in December. And he's the one that he does the tiny homes for people who've been trafficked.
Oh, yeah.
And he's bringing his wife, so you should be able to get her on the garden.
That would be dope.
Her name is Tiffany.
We also have Laura the Mortician.
Yep.
Coming on the 29th.
I believe so.
I asked her if she wanted to do coffee on the 27th.
Yeah.
She's really going through it right now, and I kind of want to be there like human to human.
Well, I think because, yes, very good on you.
Yeah.
The fact that you are putting yourself in that position is dope as fuck.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, you are able to understand what she's going through on a level that a lot of other people can't because you are also in the light.
Yeah. That's why I was so sympathetic about it. She brought up, like, if you wanted to get coffee or anything, let me know before the podcast. If you want to save the introductions for the podcast, let me know. And I was like, well, my schedule's pretty busy. If anything frees up, like, I'll reach out to you. And then she started divulging about, like, what she is going through. And I was like, well, I can do Friday, like next Friday, the 27th. A lot of shit is going to get neglected around the house.
I don't care.
But I would rather be there for another human being and make sure that she's okay versus tidying up the kitchen for the 4th time this week.
How's your toes?
It hurts. I'm fully convinced that I've broken 3 of my toes.
And not 2.
And not 2 of them. I'm also thinking about going to the doctor because the inside of my foot's feeling a little weird. It's not painful. It's just uncomfortable. I don't like the way that feels. It feels like a bunch of chicken bones floating around in Jell-O.
So now you know what a D&D character in a gelatinous cube feels like.
I hate it. Could never play it. I'll stay a bard. My lizard with a wig who's insecure about not having hair bard.
The gelatinous cubes in that game are an acidic thing that takes up a 5x5 square, and when you enter it, it slowly starts to decay you, and you have to find a ways to get out of it. And it is like an old school D&D villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to have a little cube that was plastic that I could sit on the map that we played on to like represent it. I miss D&D.
Me too. I had a lot of fun with D&D. People are super flaky though.
Yeah. And it's hard to commit to it. I'm surprised that we have a poker game that's been going on for weeks.
Not just week, it's been months.
Yeah.
We started that like 2 or 3 months before we left for Vegas. To amp up to Vegas.
Well, yeah, it hasn't. No, it's been 2 months. You're right. It's been 2 months. Yep. Tonight would be game 10. Wow. Crazy. But yeah, people, I mean, obviously with D&D, if somebody doesn't show up, it hinders the game. If poker, somebody doesn't show up, you just refill the seat. Like,
right.
Not a big deal, but
it's also a storyline with D&D.
Right.
And it's hours and hours of play. When we played on
fun.
Sundays, we would go 6 or 7 hours.
I had a game that I played every Sunday for 2 years. Yeah.
I want that kind of connection.
It was so fucking fun.
I bet it was.
I wasn't DMing, which made it even better. The guy that DM'd was like in it, like super nerd and like created his own world and like he really did the thing. It was a blast. Anyways, we've been bullshitting for 10 minutes. Let's jump into some emails and see if we can help some people today.
Okay.
This one I picked. This one actually just came in today. And before you get into it, I want you to know that there is bad grammar. There's lack of punctuation. Shit's not spelled right. There's words missing. It's kind of a train wreck of an email, but there are things in there that I would like to discuss. We have to buy. I don't like this. We have to buy weights for these things because the whole thing moves. I'm over it.
I saw you manhandling that thing and I was like, fuck off. That's my position to be in. Listen here, fucker.
Before we get into the listen here, fucker. Before we get see, it's a term of endearment.
I love you so much. You're my favorite fucker that's ever fuckered.
We are definitely getting demonetized. Good luck beeping all that, AJ.
I was about to say bleep it. It'll be funnier.
Do you want to get into that TikTok before we get into that email?
Oh, we can. All right, guys. So if you haven't seen the TikTok, the Talk Tack. If you haven't seen the Talk Tack, I made one this morning after I picked up our coffee. A whole train of thought happened within me. And two things I want to touch on from that TikTok was I wanted attention from my husband. And he was on his phone dealing with work shit. And we were watching Sons of Anarchy and I was knitting, doing my thing. And at some point I looked over at my husband and my first initial thought was, fucker, I'm right here. Like, woman, attention. And then my next thought was, okay, that's a little harsh. Calm down a little bit. He's working. We're relaxing. Like, this is the first day in a month where we've actually sat down and not worked. And you went off and you played poker, and I sent you off with love. And while you were gone, I dolled myself up. I did my hair the way you enjoyed it. I did my makeup. I put on one of your favorite dresses. And when you got home, oh boy, did I get the attention I fucking wanted. So that was the embodiment of, what are you going to do about it? I could have gotten mad at you, been like, you've been on your phone all day. You've barely looked at me. You've said 2 sentences to me. I'm your wife. You're supposed to be giving me attention. And there are women out there who probably a lot more angrily and a lot more vulgar would say that.
And then would not have accepted the attention when it was trying to be given because they had to request it.
Right. I shouldn't have to ask you for the attention. So just a little food for thought. If you want something, like in life, if you want a job, you're the one going to that job interview. You are the person who's going to have to land that job. If you have bills to pay and you are living on your own, you are the only person paying your bills. So, cause and effect. When there is a need, there is supply for it when you go for it. Second part of that video, that whole train of thought process led to, we receive emails from both men and women saying that they're on their phone too much, they play too much video games, they go out too much on Friday and Saturday nights, they prefer drinking with their friends, whatever the case is. The caboose end of that train veered off on its own and was like, well, think about this. And of course, this can apply to anybody, but in this situation, we're going to talk about men and this possibly being a reality for a lot of them. I thought about, we know that men will stay in a very miserable relationship because of the love that he has for the woman and the memory of her, right? There are a lot of relationships where men just daily wake up and feel disgust from their woman, like towards them from their woman, disappointment, frustration. The man can never do anything right. It's always nagging. I've asked you to do this 40 times. I don't understand why you can't just fucking do it. Just a lot of hostility. And then when that woman is with their children, he gets a glimpse of the woman he fell in love with. She's funny, she's being silly, she's laughing, goofy, she's sparkling, she's being loving and nurturing and compassionate and understanding. And then when her attention is once again directed at the man, it's the disgust, the disappointment. I can't stand looking at you. And then my mind went to, do men stay in relationships because they're able to experience the woman they loved in 30-minute bursts because she's with their children?
I don't think that that's the case when it comes to the parenting aspect.
Why?
Oh man, because my opinion on this is going to be, I think is probably going to be a standalone opinion. So I'm not speaking for men, I'm speaking for me right now. Mm-hmm. Children change the dynamic of a relationship for men, period.
Right.
The postpartum depression, the hormonal changes that the woman goes through, the lack of sleep on both parties, or one if one of them is not active with the children, the stress that's coming through with the amount of money that has to go out now because there's another mouth to feed and diapers and formula and all of the baby shit that has to be paid for. There's a lot that comes onto a man's plate when a child is born. So I think that already changes the relationship a lot. And seeing a woman acting that way towards their children, I don't think they're going to correlate it to she used to be that way towards me. Some might because of everything that I just said. But I think it's deeper than that. I think it's a deeper thing.
I think that takes away a certain awareness from men.
What do you mean?
What you just said, that they don't correlate it like that. I think that they do. I think a man is very capable of noticing a dynamic shift or an energy shift. And I do believe that a man will be able to look at that situation and go, she used to talk to me that way. She used to care about me like that. Of course, that is their child and that there shouldn't be a jealousy or anything there. I do believe that there would be a resentment that starts to build, though.
I don't know. I've never experienced that, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that in my personal experience, I've seen that hot and cold is basically what it is because she's warm to the baby and cold to the husband. I've seen that in social settings with friends and like social circles where a man or a woman will be super friendly and outgoing to everyone around and then be a motherfucker like, to their person. And I've seen that.
Yeah, we hear that more from the women's point of view because the man acts differently when he's with his friends versus when he's with her.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're a guy and your woman has had a baby and that relationship has happened, leave it in the comments so that we can have a discussion about that later. Because I've not experienced that.
Right. I also want to clarify, I don't mean like newborn baby stage. I'm talking like your children are coming into their teenage years and adulthood and things are really starting to get strenuous and they're starting to discover who they are as people and there's a lot of discourse in the home. A mother being able to navigate that and still be compassionate towards the child even though the child's being problematic and not that way towards the husband who could be viewed as problematic.
So using the term compassionate changes that a little bit.
I'm almost certain I said that in the first.
I may not have heard it.
Okay.
But to use the compassion aspect of that, I agree with because a mother will give their child a whole lot more grace than they'll give their husband. And there will be people in the comments right now going, well, husbands are adults.
He's not six.
He's not right. He's not a child.
Yeah.
He should know better. I'm not raising my husband, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But that grace should be had either way. We have grace with women.
Yeah. Men, I think, are out of everybody in the world, men specifically do not receive even an ounce of grace that children, women, elderly, sick, disabled people get.
No.
Of course, if you're a man and you have a disability and all those things, I'm sure you're just completely invisible to everybody.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about men being looked at as how they can provide and protect, yeah. That's also why people who have disabilities, men specifically who have disabilities, have mental health issues the way that they do, depression, suicide rates, etc. Because we are told that we are supposed to be, functioning members of society. We're supposed to provide and like be useful. And when we're no longer useful, we don't have purpose. It's also why retired age men, when they actually retire, die. They get sick, they get depressed, things happen, their body falls apart. Like we have to have a purpose. When you take our purpose away, we don't do well. It's a whole different discussion, but it's very, very factual.
I want you to know if anything happens to you and you're unable to do the things you do now, performance-wise, in any aspect, your purpose is to make me happy no matter what that looks like.
It's not to push my wheelchair into a swimming pool?
No.
Okay. Got it.
I'm going through it. I'm having a hard time. I'm definitely better than I was a few days ago when I was in that Chick-fil-A drive-thru. Was it? No, it wasn't the Chick-fil-A drive-thru. It was the day before that when I wanted to burn everything down in myself.
You were definitely having a day.
Have you ever seen those monks who light themselves on fire? Yeah. Except it would just be a lot of disdain within myself. It wouldn't be for a higher purpose or anything.
Well, that higher purpose of the monks setting themselves on fire is to bring awareness to the Free Tibet thing. Because China holds Tibet in
Right.
Bondage,
I
essentially.
mean, that's definitely a higher purpose.
Yeah.
Me just being raw, emotional, and frustrated with life and not regulating myself is not a higher purpose.
No.
That is street peaches. That is
Street peaches?
street peaches.
How does that look? Does she dress differently? Does she wear Pumas?
Absolutely feral. I'm talking hasn't washed her hair in 2 weeks, dry, crusty makeup on her eyes. Maybe there's streaks of mascara that's been there for 2 days. Definitely smell like BO. Yeah. And I'm doing the Thriller zombie walk. No, like the fucking the limping around and shit.
Yeah. That's funny. Did you see that TikTok where a guy smelled his woman's armpit? And she's like, "Oh, I'm not wearing deodorant." And he's like, "But I kind of like it.
It's pheromones.
It's something." That's why when you're like, "Definitely smells like BO," I'm like,
Really?
I don't know. I've never been like, "Oh God, you're gross. Get away from me." I just made her sniff her armpit on camera, guys.
I don't think it smells bad. I'm. Have you smelled my armpit?
Not intentionally.
Okay.
It's not something I've ever,
You know what? Now that I think about it, you've never told me baby stink.
I'm willing to stick my face in a lot of places on your body, but your armpit was never one that I was like, hey, that'll do something for her. Let me just bury my face in it.
Might do something for you though.
I don't know. The idea of licking an armpit does not do it for me.
I don't know. That sounded like something.
All right, let's get into an email because we are stupid as fuck.
Before we do that, last thing I'm gonna say, back to like the armpit smelling, whatever. I'm really hardcore thinking about getting a magnesium spray
Yeah.
and making you do this with me.
I stopped wearing deodorant.
I want to stop wearing deodorant. I have moved to like the zero aluminum, all natural shit. But in the research that I've done, when your magnesium's balanced, there is no body odor like that.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go ahead and purchase the magnesium spray. Of course, do your own research. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a certified anything when it comes to how you should treat your body.
No, she just uses Google like the rest of us.
I do. So that and, doctors on TikTok saying things.
It's not official till it's on TikTok, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, remember when it used to be Facebook? Remember when it was MySpace?
We actually had a very big discussion about MySpace and Discord the other night.
I miss MySpace.
I don't miss any of that shit. I am to the point now where I have heavily considered using the Samsung phone for contact purposes and just leaving my phone behind.
Yeah.
I set up that new private line yesterday so that I can put my main number on Do Not Disturb and still be contacted by people who matter. I don't want to see the emails anymore. I don't want to get on social media. Like I still enjoy my YouTube and I do enjoy some aspects of TikTok, but I don't care about any of that shit.
Yeah.
So
I think when I say I miss MySpace, I miss the time then because the internet wasn't so big.
it was simpler.
It was a lot simpler. Like getting onto MySpace was a once a day check to see what everyone was talking about and updating my top 10 list and shit and whatever music I wanted playing. And now is people are just obsessively, compulsively checking Facebook every 10, 15 minutes and on TikTok and Instagram and what's Kim Kardashian doing today?
I logged into Facebook this morning and actually scrolled for a minute and I realized that my feed is 85% ads, 85% ads. Mm-hmm. I'll see a post and then like 6 ads and then a post and then like 8 ads and then a post. It's just, and it's not even just ads. It's also like suggested things that we want you to see.
Yeah.
But they say things you might like.
Yeah.
I clearly don't like because I have to keep clicking it off. Mm-hmm. And somehow I ended up on the Red Bull side of Facebook because I have all the extreme mountain bike shit. Huh. Because, I totally extreme mountain bike. That's really my hobby. I do enjoy watching those fuckers fly through the air.
I was about to say, you looking at bikes and you watching the videos, I think is enough for them to advertise to you.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They do. I have been looking at the Super 73 electric bike, and somehow I found another bike that's a dirt bike that's electric that'll do up to 40 miles an hour if you remove the regulator on it, and that's very tempting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that I would actually ever ride it and jump it like they show, but what are you doing?
Biting my lip to get the skin off. It's right next to my piercing, and I fuck with my jewelry,
Oh.
which you shouldn't do as a body piercer. Don't. It's not a fidget toy as I sit here
And fidget with it?
and mess with mine. This is why. But there's loose skin, and my lips are very chapped. And you don't like the feeling of things on my lips when I kiss you, so this is the alternative.
I mean, you could still put chapstick on. You just got to give me the heads up.
No, because then you won't kiss me.
No, I still will. I'll just get a paper towel first so that I can wipe it off. I don't like the feeling of anything on my face. You saying that made my lips feel weird.
We're good to go.
Okay, then let's get into an email. I can't believe people watch us. I really can't believe people watch us.
Me either. Jelly Roll acknowledges us.
He did. Yes, he fucking did.
Jelly Roll enjoys us.
He did. He does.
This.
Yeah.
Crazy. I also want to point out I haven't been on Facebook in almost a year.
Yeah, you deleted the app. I have the messengers on there for business purposes. And I do scroll still out of boredom, but like I don't.
My life has changed drastically since I've stepped away from social media.
Yeah.
I still post because that's our job, but I have noticed a big difference. I think that's part of the reason I've grown so much spiritually, like who I am as a person, like my characteristics, my soul and whatnot, because I've stepped away from social media.
Left the echo chamber.
All right. So this email is titled, "Do I Really Want This Forever?"
What a name for an email.
Dear Peaches and Chris. Going to correct that. Dear Chris and Peaches.
Told you there's a lot of that in this email.
So I have a situation I'm looking for advice on in life. My fiance and I both watch your TikToks and stuff.
And stuff.
About a year ago, I really messed up and I cheated on my fiance because I was honestly thinking maybe I don't want this to be the rest of my life.
You gonna break that down?
Okay. About a year ago, I really messed up and I cheated on my fiance because I was honestly thinking maybe I don't want this to be the rest of my life. Very honest thought process. A lot of people get cold feet, question themselves. I don't know how old they are. A lot of people go, I'm young, I'm in my 20s. Do I really want to commit the rest of my life to one person? Maybe a conversation. To cheat because you are questioning on whether or not if you want this, you are really destroying anything you could possibly have.
Yeah. There's a lot in that too, in that they're fiancés. They're engaged. They're not actually married yet. You can absolutely push pause and step away and go, I'm not sure this is what I want now.
Right. Especially if you guys don't even have a date for the wedding planned yet.
Right.
If you guys are just engaged and you're figuring things out and now you're having that panic moment.
We're going to break this email down as it's written. I did read the entire thing, so I know it's coming.
Okay.
But that aspect in that scenario, if you are not married and you are just dating somebody, fiance is a fancy word that means nothing.
It means elevated. You have a higher status than anybody else in their life right now. I'm getting comfortable.
Okay.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you were going like you were playing paintball over there. I don't remember what I was saying because I got distracted by you hitting switches on your chair.
Fiance is a fancy word that means nothing.
Yeah. So in that scenario, even if you're living together, that granted, I understand that people make bad decisions. This is not me saying how dare you for making a bad decision. This is me saying that you had better options. And
laying out other options for people who might be feeling this way right now.
Correct. So in that scenario where you're like, I don't know if this is really what I want for the rest of my life, that's a conversation that needs to be had because maybe your partner's not so sure about this either.
Yeah, maybe they're feeling the same way.
Yeah, maybe you can have a whole lot of deep, meaningful conversations about the rest of your fucking life with your person because it's important.
Yeah.
And that comes from you being honest. Mm-hmm. So with what I was going to say with the breakdown of this is that you are already telling us that you are not
1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Right. You are not emotionally secure enough in your relationship to have honest conversations. Now, I don't know if that comes from a trauma thing from your childhood or if it's come from previous relationships where you've been belittled, or maybe it's come from this one where you guys just don't get along and every time you've tried to talk, there's been problems. But that's a learned behavior. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. I'm no saint. I've lied and I've hid things from her. And I also have a criminal past, which she judges me on often.
You judge me for my criminal past?
No.
I wonder what his criminal past is. Because I can only think of a couple of things that are like judgeable.
Right. Like, if you are anybody, I'm not just going to specifically say this to women. If you are anybody who is considering getting into a relationship with somebody who has a criminal past, and that is something that you are going to harbor, you're not even a part of that past, and you're going to harbor it and throw it in their faces, do not be with that person. They do not deserve that kind of negativity and constant beratement and judgment from somebody who's supposed to love them.
Yep.
I also don't bring up your past. When you are ready to talk about something from your past, you bring it up and you talk about it. And I listen and I ask questions because I'm intrigued by your past. It's made you who you are as a person. And to hear about your thought process about how you were then versus now, I gain a better understanding of who you are as a whole.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine judging you for your past. I really couldn't.
I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I'm definitely not the same person I was 3 years ago. And the person that I was 20 years ago,
It's a whole other lifetime.
bruh, totally different mindset.
Yeah.
Last night, after Jelly Roll mentioned us on his reel, that's right, I'm mentioning it again. I went through the rest of his reels to see what he like the questions that were being asked, and somebody asked him if he was ever going to bring back any of his old music, and he's like, "If you've been following me that long, first off, thank you, but understand that the music hasn't changed, the man has,
Yeah.
and he will never revisit that because his thought processes aren't the same as what it was when he was making his early music." And I fucking related to that. And it relates to our podcast because if you're in your 40s, the person you were in your 20s doesn't exist anymore. It shouldn't. It shouldn't exist anymore.
Right.
The 5 years ago, you shouldn't be the same person that you are today. You should be evolving year after year after year after year. And that's short term. You know, I honestly think that it can happen in 6 months. Our life is drastically changed.
Yeah.
You can read or see something that will drastically change your life. That'll basically be a fork in a road and you have a decision to make. You saw this one thing and you can keep going that same way or you can make change. That's just all there is to that. Like
Right.
you should be evolving. I don't remember why we got on that topic.
Because of criminal past.
Oh, the criminal past, right.
I'm going to piggyback off of what you're saying, and I'm going to say it goes as far as to every single day. You can pinpoint one thing that you've done today that you're like, fuck.
Yep.
Okay, tomorrow I'm not doing that. Those are the small changes that in 3 to 6 months can change your life. I've already pinpointed something today where I was like, fuck, okay. Tomorrow I'm going to be better about that. Yeah. And it's a daily thing. And some people might call that over analytical or you should just be happy with who you are as a person. No. Without over analyzing things, without sitting down and breaking things down, especially who I am as a human being, you guys wouldn't have this content.
I'm gonna challenge you then.
Okay.
Do you think that that's not being happy who you are as a person? Because that's what people will say. You're absolutely right. People will say that you should be happy as who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's what that is?
Me not being happy with who I am because I'm...
because you're evolving.
Oh God, no. I am the happiest I've ever been in my life. Even with my mental illnesses and my depression and the thoughts of unaliving myself, I have never been more content. Ever.
Right.
I didn't think I would live to be this age. And here I am fucking happy. Are you kidding me? Tell that to 13-year-old me. She wouldn't fucking believe it.
Right. So to try to improve and grow, if somebody's telling you should just be happy with your life, tell them to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, why are you trying to stop me?
Because I'm happy. Can you imagine how much happier I'm going to be as I evolve and become the ideal person of who I believe I can be? Mm-hmm. This is my metamorphosis. My life is one long change after another.
You want to know what one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen is? Time lapses of the sunset, right? Or the position of the sun in the sky over seasons. That is constant changing of the position of the sun, constant changing position of the earth. If I had the same sunset to look at every single fucking day, I wouldn't be interested in it.
Right. You wouldn't appreciate it. She gets boring. Whoop-de-doo.
No, look, the sun.
Oh, man, there's a whole lot of metaphors in that one. There's a whole lot of metaphors in that one.
Yeah.
You guys can process that on your own.
Our podcast is our time lapse.
Yeah, it is. And there's involvement. There's evolving there. Mm-hmm. Evolution. I actually had somebody on my TikTok today say the longer they listen to our podcast, the more we contradict ourselves. And it was actually about it was on a TikTok where we were talking about somebody was taking accountability for what he could have done differently to prevent his wife from cheating.
Right.
And we've had this conversation since before we had the podcast.
Yeah.
I've had multiple videos on this, and people always get up in arms. I know that it's going to get engagement. I know I'm going to get paid from it.
We know you're going to get upset.
So we continue to post the shit because you don't fucking get it. And
one day it'll click.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I posted that video this morning. It's already almost 100,000 views. So like,
wow.
It's doing exactly what I knew it was going to do. But for somebody to say that our podcast has become
contradictory,
right, is bullshit, because that position hasn't changed. It's been the same since the beginning, since before the podcast.
I want to know in what sense.
Yeah, I commented back. They're not going to be able to answer because there's nothing there contradictory. We are going to evolve, and our thought processes are going to change.
Yeah. Yeah, I have definitely noticed I'm becoming more witty with my comebacks to people too.
I'm a little more understanding of situations. Like I'm willing to...
We've become more understanding of certain situations.
Right. I'm willing to have conversations that I wasn't willing to have before too, because every single situation is different. And to just go, okay, across the board, this is the way everything applies, is speaking indefinites, and we don't do that.
We are 3 sentences in.
Okay.
This is crazy.
It's gonna get, there's a lot to this.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, October of last year, I cheated. I never met the woman or anything. We were Facebook friends and started chatting, which led to flirting, which led to nudes being sent, which led to videos being sent from me to her. So she found out, meaning that his current fiance. So my fiance found out, and we fought and argued, etc. And we ultimately decided to stay together. I never met the woman or anything. We were Facebook friends. This is why my husband and I are so set against, we don't need internet friends. We don't randomly add people you may know on Facebook.
Nope. I will accept friend requests from people in my past if they send them. Sometimes. Because I know the intent of the person.
Right.
And even if that person has changed and they're not who I view them as in my head, I remember who they were. And if they haven't changed, which is a real possibility because people stay the same way for years, I'm good on that. I don't need you around. Like, I've had old apprentices that I haven't spoken to in a long time reach out to me and try to be like, hey, man, what's up? And like, I don't... My Facebook that people find me on, I don't use the account. I have a private account that's hidden that like my family and my actual friends are on that I talk to. And like, it's a very different Facebook than the other one. So I don't know. But I'm not trying to add anybody that's going to bring any kind of disruption to my life or any kind of nonsense. I don't want to deal with that shit. It's why we have joint accounts for things. We have each other's passwords for shit. And it's not a matter of lack of trust because I don't ever log into any of your shit. The business accounts we both get to see.
Right.
I just don't. If I'm going to put that kind of energy into something, I'm going to put it into you. Like, I want to strengthen our relationship. I want to strengthen our sexual intimacy, all of that, like spiritual intimacy. So if I'm going to dedicate that time into flirting, I'm going to do it with you versus somebody else because I've been down that road in previous lives. Like, I know the outcome of that shit.
Yeah.
You learn your lessons and you move the fuck past it. And this is one of those situations where I'm hoping dude actually learn the lesson, but learning the lesson and having somebody else forgive you are two very different things.
Oh yeah, learning the lesson and have someone be understanding of that lesson you need to learn.
Yep.
Definitely two different things. This is also why we don't support couples having Snapchats.
Yeah.
And thirst trapping on Instagram. And the internet has made it so easy to cheat. And there are so many weak-minded people out there who will chomp at the bit because they're so attention starved. They don't think about the consequences.
Yep. I'm going to also go as far as to say that there are people out there that have relationships that are much stronger than all of that nonsense, and that's still happening in the relationship and both people are okay with it. And if those boundaries are laid out and everybody's adhering to the expectations in the relationship, that's a very different conversation.
You mean like the flirting and whatnot?
No, I mean like people who have relationships with somebody who has an OnlyFans account or somebody who's an Instagram model.
Oh yeah, that's a totally different conversation.
Or like Kenya, the African hippie on TikTok. Scott, when they got married or started dating, Kenya was an Instagram model. She's still doing the Instagram model. She does tattoo modeling and shit. He knew that that was a thing.
Right.
They have boundaries that were set. She's still doing it. That scenario is not what we're discussing.
Right. They also revised
Right.
that, though.
Right.
She was willing to compromise certain things
And so
to
is he.
maintain her relationship while also maintaining her career.
Right. And that's very different than the discussion that we're having about. I have to say that. We actually have to say this stupid shit because people will be like, well, what about that? Well, obviously that's not what the fuck we're talking about. But if we don't include it, somebody's gonna be like, well, what about? It's not a what about. That's not the conversation we're having. So I'm clearing that up ahead of time. So if you were typing that, you can go ahead and backspace. You don't need to.
Oh, no, they probably already posted it.
Probably. And that's okay.
Some of those fuckers are fast.
They are pretty cool.
Those SJ warriors.
Well,
know what
they
they're
also
doing.
pause the video. They don't need to hear it anymore. So then they'll type and then they just miss the fact that we covered everything that they were talking about. And yep. Then I comment back and they have to come back and engage again. And then we do that back and forth and I start getting ad revenue and it's a beautiful process.
Sounds gorgeous.
It does. Sounds like cha-ching, cash register. Cha-ching.
And also to clarify, I do believe that there are couples out there who can have a Snapchat because that's how they communicate with long distance family, all those kinds of things. Do I believe that vast majority of people using Snapchat are using that for it? No.
Right.
No, I don't believe that. So, disclaimer has been disclaimed.
But I use it for the filters, babe.
That was my excuse when I had Snapchat.
Yeah.
I used it for the filters. And it gave me all the attention that I wanted. I was also very insecure with myself and thought that I was only digestible with filters on. So,
Yeah.
whole thought process behind that. I wonder what they argued about. Like, what was his defense? What was she arguing?
Yeah,
Like,
that was never mentioned.
that sucks. She aggrieved to move. Aggrieved. I mean, I would say that is an accurate word. Agreeing to grieve the.
Yeah. That's funny. She aggrieved.
She agreed to move past it and everything, but she never has. Within the first few months after cheating, I was in the honeymoon phase again. I was flirty, complimenting, sharing my location, letting her see my phone.
Let's pause it there
Okay.
before you get too much further along.
Okay.
When she decided to forgive me the first few months after I was in the honeymoon phase. Not we, I.
Right.
Which tells me that it's not a matter of them being in love in honeymoon phase. He was trying to he was love bombing.
Okay, so the way that I view this, yes, I agree. That's over inundating,
Right.
overcompensating.
Putting Band-Aid over Band-Aid over Band-Aid over
Right.
Band-Aid.
So he cheated because there is a void for a need. After cheating, there is a healing process you both have to go through. We had this conversation. Hypothetical, you cheated on me. I do not believe in divorce. So, of course, I would have to go through and process that. And it would be a lot of introspection because of the relationship that we have and the man that you are. You wouldn't do it because you didn't get what you wanted for a week, right? You would go months. You could go a year as long as everything else in our life was being met intimacy-wise. Mm-hmm. So I would 100% be failing as a wife if you ended up cheating on me. Part of that forgiveness process for me I could not have sex with you during figuring out emotions. How do we come back from this? How do we fix this? Because both parties in that is wrong. You should have never cheated and I should have never neglected you as your wife.
So much hate's about to come through here.
Get over it. I wouldn't be able to have sex with you. And it might be 6 months before I could even think about doing that kind of intimacy with you. Other intimacies would still be there, though, like the back touches. I'm not going to be all over you 24 hours a day. It will be, I am hurting. I see you're trying. I am also going to try to make sure you feel loved by me and that we are going to work through this together.
Right.
He's just still looking to have his needs met.
Yep.
She's not going to want to be overly flirtatious with you the first few months after you just cheated on her. If you get a sweet good morning, babe, I hope you have a good day, and she doesn't bitch at you the whole day, that's a fucking win.
Okay. Let's break this down.
Okay.
Right. Because he didn't physically cheat. He emotionally cheated.
Right.
He was
I wouldn't say emotionally cheated. He was sending videos of
he was
himself doing.
lusting after another woman, but there was no physical contact there.
Right.
Do you see that differently than if there was physical contact in terms of you having sex with them? Like if that was me, if I was sending dirty pictures of somebody, which would be dirty because I'm way
Right.
overweight, but if that was the
fuck
case,
you.
if that was the case, would you see that differently than me physically cheating? In terms of having sex with me after the fact.
Okay. So with this being 2023 and the internet being the way the internet is, if you were sending photos and videos of yourself, I would equate that with physical cheating.
But it's not.
Right. It's not. With this being 2023 and the internet being the internet, I do see that as a step further than just sending text messages and flirting with each other. That is a more egregious act.
I agree with that. But that doesn't answer the question about the sex aspect.
It would be very hard for me to look at your body the same way, yeah. It would be very hard for me to let you see my body, knowing that you were doing that. You now have ingrained in your brain the body of another woman and vice versa.
Okay, so in this dude's scenario, let's say he wasn't getting his needs met. That's not the case. He wasn't sure if he wanted to stay with this chick for the rest of his life. So he was looking to get his dick wet somewhere else to see if this sounds like he was more worried about whether or not he wanted to have sex with the same person for the rest of his life. So he started looking for somebody else to see.
Really?
That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay, so me hearing, I don't think I want this to be the rest of my life, I did correlate that to there's something lacking there.
Right, but if that was the case, why did he cheat? If I don't want the same car, I'm going to go buy a new car.
What it could be that he's not as physically attracted to her as he once was. And
Then why wasn't he hanging out with other people? Why wasn't he physically going and meeting new people and like expanding his social circle?
because it's easier to do it on the internet.
Right. But that's not what he was doing. He wasn't finding new friends and trying to engage in them with, it became sexual. It was sexual. This was a sexual thing to me. And because of the action the action that followed the words he laid out, it leads me to believe
Okay.
that it was not about having
Needs.
a woman. It was about being with the same woman for the rest of his life. Maybe there's kinks there, or maybe he
Okay.
has sexual needs that weren't being met and he was afraid he was going to be settling,
Okay, I think we're on the same page.
right?
Okay. Because I was thinking there was a need not being met, like she doesn't enjoy giving head or whatever.
Could be.
Okay.
Could be. Because it could be super important to him.
So same.
Right. So in this scenario, let's say that wasn't the case and the needs not being met were intimate needs.
Not sexual needs, like intimate needs?
Not sexually intimate needs.
Okay.
But intimate needs. Like there wasn't flirting. There wasn't, hey, you look great in that shirt today.
Okay,
Like there was no longer
no cheerleader.
Right. Okay, we'll call it that. No more cheerleading.
Okay.
And he's like, I don't know if I want to live like this. I'm kind of miserable. I'm doing everything that I can do, and she just doesn't give a shit.
Right.
And then he goes out and tries to do that, finds somebody that's willing to do that, and it escalates to the point of somebody else filling those needs. If he's expressed that to you, because it's hypothetical with you, like me
Right.
and you.
Okay.
If I expressed that to you, and you didn't start making the changes and then found out that I found somebody else to fill that need, would that change that for you in terms of the sex afterwards? Because you said that you would look at that situation different because we were talking about sex.
Right. Yes. I mean, it wouldn't. I would still feel the same. There would be. Of course, I would feel a certain way towards you.
Right.
There would be a lot of hurt. Ultimately, if the conversation was had of, Peaches, you are not meeting my needs. This is the third time I'm coming to you. Like, I'm not happy. And I'm still just, I don't care. You're not meeting my needs either. So, tit for tat. At any point, I could have said, I hear you. I'm going to work on it. I'm sorry. Like, I want you to be happy. There would be a lot, like I said, there would be a lot of introspection. I think any scenario of me being cheated on, whether it be just you flirting with another woman and passing at a fucking movie theater, I would feel devastated within myself because I pushed you away from me. So it wouldn't be like a resentful, you're not getting sex because you cheated. It would be, am I even worthy of being able to have sex with this man anymore?
So the outcome would be the same, but the reason for the outcome would change.
I would say I'm putting myself in a lot of different scenarios, and there's a lot of different mental processes and a lot of different emotions. There's a timeline for everything. Everyone's always asking, when is enough time to get over cheating? When is enough time to finally forgive somebody? There is a timeline for that. Only you can decide that.
Right.
So if it was you flirted with a woman in passing 3 months ago and it happened once and you feel so guilty about it and you came clean to me, I don't think that it might be a day or two of like, okay, I really need to process this. And then I might be able to just jump back into it and be like, okay, we're going to hit the ground running and we're going to fix our fucking relationship. Like everything's there, the intimacy, the sex, all of it. To the sending of the videos and the photos, I think that would take a little bit longer of me working myself back up of being worthy of being that woman.
Okay. Do you think that it would be different if I told you I sent videos versus you finding out that I sent videos?
There would be a respect in you telling me versus me finding it. I think that would definitely quicken the timeline of things because you telling me is going to fucking devastate me. And we have always had the agreement that no matter how much it hurts me, you would tell me. So I would still view that as you. Fuck me, man. I would still view that as you trying everything you can to save us.
I'm going to backpedal a little bit because you said that I've always said that I would tell you. We have had the agreement that it won't get that far.
Right.
Because if there's something that's not being met that needs to be met, whether it's emotional, spiritual, or physical, that conversation is going to be had way before it gets to the point of things falling apart.
Right.
Because it's a lot easier to fix things when they're slowly starting to erode versus when it's been
leaking and metal's missing and
right. So it's a process. And that comes from past lives. Like we've both experienced shit in our past. We've both done shit in our past. It's like, this is, so we need to address these things as it's happening, not, a year down the road.
Right.
But that also comes down to willingness to being able to listen. So to clarify that statement, we do, when there is an issue, we do hit you with, like, we hit each other with what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's immediate. Like, hey, I'm starting to feel this way.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel this way. Not, hey, it's been 6 months. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Right? Or like, well, you always, or you never, because it's a very different conversation than I am starting to feel like. Mm-hmm. So that's important. Because that will change your conversations.
Can I give the example of our splitting conversation that we had?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay. So an example to that, we both have BPD. And there was a period of time where I was splitting. And for people who have BPD or understand what that is, it is a very shitty mindset to be in. And it's a very shitty thing to be on the receiving end of. And I came to you and I was like, babe, I think I'm splitting. And I think I'm splitting towards you. And I knew it was going to hurt you. And I knew that it was going to kick in your abandonment and all of these other things. And you fought through all of that. You even said, like, my abandonment's in full blown right now. And I was like, I know mine too, because I just told you this. And both of us being willing to have that conversation, I came out of that episode so much faster than if I had just had to struggle through it and nitpicked you and everything you did was pissing me off. It really could have been a very damaging thing for our relationship.
Yeah. Said it was a 2-hour conversation.
It was a 2-hour conversation, and both parties need to be willing to be understanding of what the other person is going through and be willing to suppress their fight or flight response. There's a lot that goes into that shit, and it's not easy.
Yeah. I think in those situations, the biggest thing to remember is that it's not an attack. Like for me, that situation is not an attack. When you came to me about that, regardless of how I felt, I knew what you were going through because I've experienced splitting. So when you're like, I think I'm splitting towards you, and you explain what was going on, I'm like, that's exactly what's happening. I've been there. That fucking sucks. And even though my abandonment is now in full-fledged and like There's a part of me that goes, she's going to leave you, just fucking go, that kind of shit. We were able to have a conversation about you and not about me because I wasn't the problem there. If you were feeling something, that's a you problem.
Right.
If I am feeling something, that's a me problem. And when we have those conversations, it's not an attack. If I come to you and I say, I feel like, it's not a I feel like you did something wrong. It's not a I feel like fuck you. It's a I feel like this. Well, why do you feel like that? And then we can have the conversation because I'm not attacking you.
Right.
Most people don't want to do that. Most people want to, I always, you never, you're a piece of shit. How dare you not pick up your underwear off the floor? Like, you know what I mean? It's a whole lot of stupidity that goes into that. And when you make it about you and not about them, they can't, it's a lot harder for them to get defensive because they want to try to fix what's going on with you. Most loving scenarios, that's the case. That splitting conversation was a hard one.
Yeah. I was absolutely terrified. Like, being the person feeling that way, it is such a terrifying thing to feel. And it's hard to fight your own mind. If that conversation had gone the direction of becoming about you, or if you had reacted within your abandonment and just left because you thought I was going to leave, we wouldn't be here today.
No, I fully believe that.
Like,
fully believe that. I know that I know that there are times that I don't handle things the best. There's times that you're going to say something to me and I'm going to react instead of respond because I'm not in a logic brain or I'm hyper fixating on something and you catch me off guard and that dialed back
the autopilot
gets out and I have to like reel that shit back in. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a strong man pulling a fire truck trying to, no, come, you know. But it is one of those things. And so that's going to happen. How we respond to that situation will dictate the rest of our evening or weeks to come. So with your splitting scenario, if I would have taken that and made it about me and not about what you were going through, it would have ended our relationship because my BPD was triggered like that. So it's just one of those things. But if you look at it from a non-borderline personality disorder perspective, everyone goes through that to some degree. No one wants to be called on their shit.
Right.
Period. It's embarrassing. You now have to take accountability. You may have to swallow your pride. Your ego gets kicked in the teeth. Your id is affected. Like there's a whole lot of shit that goes into all of that. Nobody wants to be that guy. Right? We all have a perfect image of who we are or who we strive to be. And when that gets challenged and that sparkly, fresh is like hunched over and covered in mud, like, fuck. Now I gotta, you know what I mean? Like,
you feel like you have to save face too.
Right. Sometimes it's better to just be like, hey, I am totally fucking beat down, covered in mud, and I need some help.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I was flirty, complimenting, sharing my location, and letting her see my phone. But as the months went on, she seemed to get worse. Constantly throwing things in my face, not just the cheating, but everything. So here we are a year later, and I've put my foot down on a lot of things. Okay. So she seemed to get worse. In that time, what were you doing to make sure she was healing in this?
Well, that's not something that he can do to make sure that she's healing. That's something she has to do. You know, she has to be the one to heal.
Right. If he's just throwing love at her and is being flirty and all of that, and he's not willing to have conversations about how he hurt her,
right,
you're not contributing to the healing process.
I agree with that. When I read that whole thing, I thought if it's been a year and she's gotten worse, she obviously hasn't forgiven you.
And she doesn't intend to.
Right.
She has yet to move on from the cheating or even try to heal. She says, I'm trying to move past it, but I can't do that on my own, which is very true, and I support that 100%, but I've done exactly what she asks and has needed of me. Now, I don't share my location, which is her big thing again. Okay. So say this guy has done everything that she's asked. He's tried to help with the healing process. He sits down and lets her scream and cry at him. And when she's done, he validates everything she's going through. He's sending his location. He's texting her the moment he leaves work. Takes me 12 minutes to get home, 15 minutes if there's traffic, hitting red lights, whatever. Like, he is on his shit about everything because he wants to make this work. if you're the woman who needs to forgive the man for cheating and he's doing all of these things, everything that he's asked of you, and you are still not willing to let go of the cheating, you need to let go of that man.
All of that sounded so exhausting.
It is.
I wouldn't do that as a man. Like if I was in a position where I was that guy, having to do all of that wouldn't be worth it to me.
Right.
Real shit. It wouldn't. But I also, you have my location. Why would you turn that off? He said he's doing everything he can to fix it, and then he contradicted himself by saying he no longer shares his location.
Well, this is also a year into
Doesn't
everything.
matter. You're not sharing your location for a reason.
Okay.
Because that being on does not affect your phone at all. It's not killing your battery.
Right.
There's no notifications. There's no little red bubbles.
It seems spiteful.
There's no reason not to share your location. Especially if you were sharing your location. You made a decision to actively turn that off. Like, active decision, I'm not doing this anymore. She doesn't get it.
Right.
Why would you do that?
Spite.
No reason.
Nothing I do is ever good enough for you, so now I'm going to start taking it away.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
That's that matching energy, the tit for tat.
I don't even think about that. I know that our shared location is on. I know that shared location is on both of our phones. Mm-hmm. But I only think about that ever if it's brought up.
Yeah.
If I want to know where you are, I text you, hey, where are you at? Instead of actually looking to see where you are on the locations thing.
Yeah.
Who the fuck thinks to turn that off?
People who
are doing something wrong.
Doing something wrong, or they're emotionally immature.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand. I don't know. I don't know. I got nothing on that.
Yeah.
I don't even think about that shit.
So something that I inherited, a trait that I inherited from my mother that I had to unlearn was when you're mad at somebody, you take something away. So she would go through and change Hulu passwords. And if you needed access to the Hulu, you would then have to ask her permission. It's a power thing.
That's so stupid.
Blocking numbers when you're done with the argument, but the argument's not resolved, you just said what you wanted to say and that's it. And then blocking the person and then unblocking them when you're ready to have the conversation again. It's a control thing, a power dynamic.
Yeah, I get that. It's stupid, but I get it.
That's how I view that. That looks like he's trying to take some of his power back.
Do you ever check my location? Have you ever?
I have twice since we've turned it on. Once was I couldn't get a hold of you. You weren't answering your phone, and my mind went to he got into a car accident.
That was when I was with Ian, right? Was it when I was with Ian?
I think it was when you were with Ian.
Because I remember you blew my phone up a couple times, and I finally had to answer. I'm like, babe, I'm with Ian right now. Like, I need 15 minutes. I'll call you back.
And then the second time was when you were riding my motorcycle back. I was praying the whole time. I was absolutely terrified. Like, and I was like, okay, well, I left at this time. He said he was going to hang out a little bit longer. And I was like, maybe 30 minutes. Like, I was calculating.
Oh, you mean the day that we bought it?
The day that we bought it, yeah. And I was sitting in the pickup line for our son. And I was like, 2:30. If I haven't heard from him by 2:30, I'm going to start blowing his phone up. And at like 2:10, you texted me. I think it was like 1:50. I checked your location. And I saw your little dot move. And I was like, okay, so he's not dead. But it's always out of worry. I've never checked, like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
I don't believe him. Where is he at? Is my husband still alive?
That was the most relaxing motorcycle ride I have ever been on.
Yeah.
I didn't even break 65 miles an hour the whole ride.
Yeah. I can't wait to get my endorsement.
There was no traffic until I got near Sunseeker. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's always traffic down there. Right. But from the motorcycle place that we bought your bike from, which was, I think, Southwest Florida Cruisers or some shit like that. I don't know, Monk, wherever he is. Mm-hmm. From there until I made it into Charlotte Harbor, no traffic. I hit one light, and I was the only thing at the light.
That's dope.
It was just the fucking perfect motorcycle ride.
Yeah.
Had sunburn on my arms and hands.
You did.
Totally forgot to wear a long sleeve shirt that day. Yeah. That was a good ride. It was about 45 minutes. It was nice.
I've been thinking about getting a pink leather jacket to ride in.
Yeah?
Yeah. That way cars can see me, and I'm protected. I think being covered in all pink. I'm also thinking about getting a little tiara to put on my helmet to be bougie.
That's funny. You can get your helmet wrapped in vinyl.
I want to get peaches on it.
Could get glitter vinyl with another. You could probably even overlay it. I don't know. I'd have to ask Jordan, but you could probably. You don't want peaches written on it.
Why?
Because people will be like, "Hey, peaches."
Okay.
It's like your kid's wearing a jacket with their name on it.
Right, but I carry a pew pew.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to the email. We're an hour in already.
Okay. So now I don't share my location, which is her big thing again. I've explained my side to her many times. Well, what's your side? Why did you turn it off? She would send me screenshots of where I am saying, why are you here? What you're doing here, etc. Another situation, I live in an apartment and God forbid the location pings off a different signal and it shows me at a different building within the complex. It starts huge arguments.
Does that actually happen? Like if you're at your apartment, assuming you're actually in your apartment, you're connected to the Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. So that should still work. It wouldn't be a matter of bouncing off signals because your phone is stationary.
I don't know.
Wouldn't it come off your Wi-Fi?
Unless he's on cellular data.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know.
I don't either. But her sending pictures of going, why are you here instead of there? I can see how that would get annoying because she's constantly accusing him of shit. But that comes down to communication.
Yeah.
If she knows where the fuck you're going, she doesn't have to check your phone constantly. And if she does, and you say you're going to be at 7-Eleven down the road and you're 3 miles over in a different direction, you're fucking lying.
Yeah.
Don't blame it on the cell phone towers.
Right.
I do know because Steve had an issue with Find My iPhone once. Mm-hmm. It didn't update, and it was showing that his phone was still at the golf course when it was in his truck, but it fallen underneath of the seat. Probably lost signal. When he finally found signal again, oh, there's my phone.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how any of that shit works. So I can't have an opinion. I'll send Snapchats to show her where I am, etc. Anytime. Oh, that's a period. Okay.
They have Snapchat.
I'll send Snapchats to show her where I am, etc.
They have Snapchats.
They do. I will die on the hill that Snapchat is for cheaters.
Same.
Like, I do believe there is a small percentage of people who use Snapchat to communicate with family members and send photos and whatnot. There are other apps to upload photos of children and grandchildren where it's family albums for people to look at. You don't have to use Snapchat.
Yeah, you can do that on Facebook.
Yeah.
And it doesn't delete.
Yeah. Anytime a girl follows my TikTok, she creeps on the person and stalks their whole life. Anytime I get a like or a comment on TikTok, she thinks I'm cheating or screwing the girl, etc. It's gotten so bad.
And that's because you betrayed her.
I'm about to say, you really damaged this girl. You think she's having fun with all of this? She is living in constant anxiety of not being good enough for you.
I'm willing to bet that she was like this before he cheated, though.
I do believe that this probably magnified it, intensified it.
Yeah.
She went from 0 to 100, maybe 80 to 200. I would say 80 miles an hour to 200. I've turned my location off. I stopped sharing it entirely because I can't take it anymore. We've been brawling nonstop over this because I feel she doesn't need to stalk my life.
He said they've been brawling.
Yeah.
Do you think that indicates the intensity of their arguments? Or do you think he used that word just to use a different word? Because when I think of brawl, I'm thinking like 10 or 15 dudes.
I'm thinking of a bar fight, yeah.
Yeah, like a bar fight. That's exactly where my brain went. That's funny.
Like someone just bashed a pool stick on the table, smacked somebody in the head. There's beer flying everywhere,
Yep.
bar stools being thrown.
Yep. Yeah, I don't. If that indicates the intensity of their arguments and he's viewing everything as a brawl, that's a problem. It means you're not communicating.
Right. I'm wondering, could this also be an overinflation of things?
It could be.
Is she really doing this to every single person, or is she doing this to people that you interact with more than you interact with others?
Yeah.
Are you commenting back to this one person specifically on multiple videos?
Yeah.
There's a lot that be going into it.
Oh, look, they follow each other. I wonder if they know each other in real life. Oh, she complimented his shirt. Oh, he complimented her ass.
Yeah.
And by complimenting her ass, could have just been a damn.
We've been brawling nonstop over this because I feel she doesn't need to stalk my life. You don't need to know where I am every second of the day. I hate feeling I'm being watched and stalked and just everything by my own fiance. I'm also sure she hates all of this too. I bet she hates the fact that she was betrayed by her fiance.
Yep.
I want to know what kind of conversations they had. I'm going to be honest. I don't care that you showed her your phone and you had your locations on. How were you there for her emotionally and mentally through the damage you caused?
It matters.
It does matter. If all of that is lacking, if you cheated on me and there was not the mutual willingness to be understanding and compassionate, and there are times where you might be mad at me and frustrated and get emotional. I'm just going to have to take that. And when it's done, we're going to have the conversation. And there's times where I might yell at you and cry, and then finish with that. We'd have the conversation of what triggered all of it. If that's not there, what's the point of any of it?
Right. Here's another thought. People who have PTSD or CPTSD or BPD, anything that like really significantly affects the way your brain works, you have a very hard time with people being at odds against you.
Yeah.
If you feel like you've done something wrong, if you feel like they're angry or sad, there's a oh fuck. There's anxiety.
There is
right?
certainly that survival panic.
Right. So for people who have that, being in a situation where somebody's not okay with them, they're going to try to do everything they can to appease the situation. So they're not going to be able to have the conversations because they're going to be trying to their fight or flight. Right. They're going to be in that, oh God, when things are happening. So in a scenario where he cheated, they're now having conflict. She brings up the fact that something triggered her. He's going to feel attacked all over again and have that, oh God. He can't just put himself in a position to realize that she's hurting because now it's all about how he's feeling because he's in that panic phase.
Right. He just wants to get past it.
There's not going to be a healing unless you two can validate and listen to each other.
Yeah. Okay. Turning off your location was not the move.
No, it was not.
It was not the move. I tell her why I don't want to share my location, and it's the truth. I feel she doesn't need to stalk my entire life and be monitoring me every second of the day. I feel like she is my warden at this point. Please tell me if I am the asshole for thinking like that.
Yep. You are.
Part of me really wants to bring couples onto the podcast the way that we do interviews and just do breakdowns of the relationship.
I mean, we can, and we can do that. Speaking of which, damn, baby, you're on top of shit. Guys, we are doing Zoom readings for our Patreon community. So if you have an email that you've submitted, and especially if there's two of you that would like to have a conversation, and you are a member of our Patreon, you can submit an email or submit a new email if you've already submitted one. The title needs to include Zoom reading to let us know that you're okay with the Zoom reading. The wizards will read the email. They will reach out to you to set up a time, and then we will read your email live with you on Zoom so that we can pause, ask you questions, and then go back to what we're reading. And in the event that there's two of you, we can actually have a discussion about what's happening in the relationship and we can break things down. That'll be a beneficial way to do that. However, that is only available to our patrons. Also, if you would like to watch The Garden with Peaches, that's her own content women's segment. She does interviews with creators, interviews with other women, murder mystery breakdowns.
Yep, I'm also going to be doing book breakdowns.
Yep, all kinds of cool shit there that is also only exclusive to our Patreon community. You get early release content when we do interviews. We normally drop them the week of, but it's not on the weekend so that people who have busy weekends can still watch. And we have the Discord channel. So
we also do, for our top tier, 4 live streams a month.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right now, those live streams include the Zoom readings.
Right. And then bullshit Q&A.
Yep.
All that good stuff. It's a much smaller community versus like YouTube. We get anywhere from 600 to 1,000 people typing at once.
Yeah, it gets a little
In
chaotic.
Patreon, we get about 100
at most. We get 100 viewing.
Yeah,
but they're not all typing.
Right. So it's a very much more slow paced.
Yep.
One-on-one with us.
We've also included live stream replays for the $10 tier.
Really?
Yeah, I've gone through, once we've gone and done it, I'll go through and change the tier so they can't watch it live and they can't comment, but it is extra content for them to
Oh, that's
view.
dope.
Yep.
That's really dope. I didn't know that.
So just trying to add content. We do vlogs from time to time, the groups, all of that stuff.
You ready to get back into the email?
Yes.
Okay. It's gotten so bad that I don't go anywhere because she's going to make a comment or say something, etc. And I just don't feel like dealing with it or arguing.
Why does it have to be an argument? If she's telling you that she's not happy with it or she's uncomfortable with what's happening, hear her. The argument is coming from you. Even if she says something shitty, If that was us and you didn't want me going somewhere and you came at me real fucking sideways and I went, I don't deserve that. Where did that come from? I haven't done anything. Like, I've been doing everything. My location's on. I'm trying to make you happy, but I still have other things that I need to do. Where did that come from? We can have a quick discussion, hash out what the fucking problem is, and then I'm gonna go about my life. It's gonna be a whole lot better than me leaving angry because you and I got into a fucking argument because you were emotional and I decided to jump on that emotional bandwagon. Like, us checking each other. Wait a minute. Whoa. That helps. That being an argument is because you're choosing to argue. It's a choice. She could come at you real fucking sideways and you can be like, you know what? I deserve that. I'll be back in a little while. That's not an argument.
Yep.
That's you feel like that. I don't feel that way. I'm still going to go do what I got to do. Deuces. An argument is a choice. That takes two people.
It does. I know I messed up and cheated, but she made the decision to stay and work on things with me.
Ain't no but. You just negated the entire fact that you did some dirty shit.
Yeah. I've worked on things to not feel the need or want to cheat, like this is my person, and I know that now. But I just don't think I can live the next 50 plus years like this. He just ended the email the way that he started it.
He did. Because he absolutely did. Damn, you're right. He did. I don't think that I want to live my life like this, so I cheated.
And now this is the rest of your life because you cheated.
Yep.
Fuck.
That's a damn good point. I missed that. I missed that. I was hung up on something else on the last part of that, but you're damn right. He did. He absolutely did.
He created the situation he was worried about a year ago.
Yep.
I got nothing else to say.
All right.
The email ends with, I love the girl, don't get me wrong, and I know I messed up, but all the issues I created by cheating, it seems they're never ending. Please, do you have advice on this location thing, or just tell me I'm an asshole for not sharing my location? LOL, I'm at my wit's end with trying to fix things. I just don't want to feel like a prisoner anymore in my own relationship. Buddy, you made yourself the prisoner in this.
Yeah, you're continuing
to
make yourself the prisoner.
Your thoughts become reality. You worried a year ago that this isn't what you wanted in life, and now it's your fucking reality. Shouldn't have cheated.
Yeah, you're continuing to make yourself the prisoner because you're not being emotionally supportive of what's happening.
Yeah.
When somebody criticizes you, the criticism is
rooted in truth.
It's rooted in truth. There's a feeling and emotion behind it. Find the root of the emotion and have a conversation about it. Turning off your location services didn't make you an asshole. It makes you foolish. There's no reason to do that unless you're hiding something.
Right.
And tell me that if she had that on and all of a sudden she turned it off and refused to turn it back on, that you wouldn't feel like she was hiding something.
Especially with the way things have gone down so far.
That's logic brain thinking. I'm not even in this situation and I think you're doing foul shit. I just do. Your history says this is who you are.
Yeah.
If the email read differently and you kept your location services on and you were reassuring her and you were taking the steps to prove that you're willing to change and that you learned from your mistake, blah, 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 blah.
And those steps are more than allowing her to see your phone, having your locations turned on.
Right. Because you can delete all that shit.
Right.
Your communication sucks.
It really does.
And that's the biggest issue in all of this, because if you were able to communicate with her and comprehend what she's laying down and validate her emotionally, and she was willing to do the same for you, you guys could start healing this process and start to move past it. I'm willing to bet they're young. I just realized that I have a negative connotation to people who say the word fiance. Because I was about to be like, your fiance. Because it sounds like kid shit to me. Like when people get engaged to get married, they normally, if they're actually going to get married, have dates planned. Like you get engaged and then you start making plans for the wedding. And like, not here's a ring to as a placeholder, and in 5 years from now, we're going to get married. I know that people do that.
Right.
That's not how my brain works.
With my mindset now, I'm not going to speak for you. With my mindset now, with the dating game and my understanding of what marriage is and the commitment that is, that in between step of fiance, it seems like a placating stage.
I agree.
Especially for men, because a lot of women will push marriage. I don't really want to get married to her yet, but if I buy her a ring and call her my fiance, buy me 5 years.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that's necessary. I think in reality, the smarter move would be to save yourself the money and be like, hey, we're not there yet. Let's buy the house and do all the life shit first, and then we'll worry about a ring when we can actually have a date set. I don't know. But I also understand that people play married now before they actually get married in terms of living together and living as husband and wife. I don't know.
This one's called Relationship Advice. Hi guys, I hope y'all are well. My husband and I are having a reoccurring discussion. I was hoping for a third party's opinion. I'm a homemaker, and we've been married for 2 years and dating for 5. I became a homemaker 3 years ago. So our argument is that he says I don't care about things that are happening on the day-to-day in the house. Okay. So just looking at that sentence, you're a housemaker. And if his gripe is you're not paying attention to day-to-day things in the house, that could go one of two ways. Either you're really slacking and you're the homemaker, or he's really nitpicking things and is just looking for reasons to argue. That's where my mind went to with that.
I didn't take that at all that
No?
way.
What do you think?
She's a homemaker. Read it again, because maybe I just didn't understand.
Okay. I became a homemaker 3 years ago. So our argument is he says that I don't care about things that are happening on the day-to-day in the house.
Was there this around it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care.
I don't give a fuck what goes on in this house. That's how I took that.
Oh, okay. I thought he meant that she was not caring.
Right.
About the
I don't know.
day-to-day.
I don't know
Okay.
the context past the email. But that's when you read that out
Yeah.
loud and did this with your fingers. I took that as I don't give a fuck what goes on in the house. Same.
Okay, see, hearing that from a man's perspective, okay. I got it. I was to say, that's a weird argument to have with a homemaker.
Right.
Okay. So, for example, I bought a new plant and planted it on the fence. I started to tell him all about it, and he interrupted with, I don't care.
Okay, that's wrong. Because that was a request for connection, and he shut it down.
That's fucked up.
Right. But same. I don't give a shit about your plans. But when you start talking about them, I'm engaged. I will listen to you talk about your elephant ears all fucking day long. Don't care, but I'm going to listen. And when you get excited, I'm going to get excited. Not because of the plant, but because you're excited. We're going to share some excitement. Just like when I find a dusty ass bottle that I got for $65 that's retailing secondhand for $600 and I'm super fucking pumped. You're like, hell yeah, babe, glad you found it. You're excited because I'm excited. You don't give a fuck about that bottle. I do. It's a request for connection. Babe, look at that sports car. Oh my God, look at that car going by the road. Oh my God, babe, look at that motorcycle. You don't give a shit about that. I do.
What do you mean
But
I don't give a shit about
I am
that?
requesting you to give me the attention and acknowledge that thing. It's a request for connection.
You just straight fib to everybody. I send you pictures of old cars that I like.
because you know that I'm into it, though. It's a
It's
request
not-
for connection.
It's not, I'm not sending it for the benefit of you.
Yes, you
I
are.
enjoy classic cars.
don't.
I like old model cars.
No, you don't.
That pink Chevy that I took a picture of. It was
Cadillac?
like a Cadillac.
That was Elvis's car.
Was that what? That was not Elvis's car.
This is a pink Cadillac. That's why that's there. Elvis.
What are you talking
Las
about?
Vegas. The fucking car at the ghost town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that was supposed to
Elvis's
be Elvis's.
pink Cadillac.
Huh.
Yeah, because you like old cars.
I didn't know it was the purpose of being Elvis's car. I liked the pink, and I was like, oh, they did this for me.
Yeah, there you go. It's the Peaches car. It's the Peaches Cadillac.
Of course, I didn't think that. It was a goofy thought, but
Right. It was fun.
I like old cars, even if I fuck up the model of them sometimes. I really do want a Monte Carlo, though.
Yeah.
Like a 1972.
Yeah, I like the 79 to 81, I think. Maybe 78 to 82, somewhere in there. That body style does it for me.
I also like the old, like the 1950s cars that have like the wings on the back, look like vampires.
Those are Cadillacs.
Is that really a Cadillac? Even in the 1950s? Elvis's car didn't have that.
It did have wings on the back of it. You talking about the fin that goes along near the brake light?
No.
Oh, well, then I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. I'll have to pull it up. I also like the old like mobster cars. Yeah. I drive one of those.
Yeah.
The first Ford models, like the T Fords. What do they call those? Jalopies?
Model Ts.
Right, but people had nicknames for them. I would love to drive one of those too.
You gotta have to start your car.
I got experience with those windows.
Yeah. Do they even make cars without power windows anymore?
They do. My aunt just had her Jeep got repainted, so they gave her a rental. It was like a 2020, and it had the fucking, the crank.
Crazy.
I've been so mad. Been like, y'all, I just bought like an $80,000 Jeep from you guys, and you're gonna put me in this thing?
So he's wrong. He should have acknowledged the request for connection. But at least there's also a truth in that. He doesn't give a shit.
He can pretend.
He can pretend.
He can pretend. You're right. When we go bottle, I don't know what I'm looking at when we're bottle hunting. I like labels of things. I like how some bottles are shaped. Like I might point at one and be like, ooh, look at that bottle. And you're like, yeah, it's cool. We're looking for this.
Right.
Because I don't know the meaning behind any of this
Right,
shit.
because it's my collection, not yours.
Right. But I'm still stoked to be there. I love that you want me to be a part of your world.
Right. Same thing that when I point out cool plants. They may not be cool. Hey, look at the colors on this, babe. Is this rare?
It actually does make me really happy when you do that.
It looks like grass with a different color. I don't fucking know.
Things that I love looking at is like wheat, like blowing in the wind. We could be in the middle of nowhere and be like, hey, babe, look at that wheat. And I might start crying.
Wheat living its best life.
Just flowing in the breeze. So magical. Sometimes the sun's hitting it just right and it's like sparkling. For someone who is Schneidel,
Yeah.
I love being alive.
It took me a minute to understand what the fuck you just. I thought you were having a stroke. I was like, what the fuck is that? I get it now.
Yeah. It's small moments like that in life where I'm like, I do enjoy being here. I love it. It's when you really step away from technology, I thoroughly believe I would not have the depression that I have if I did not grow up with technology.
I'm willing to bet that 90% of the planet would not have the depression they have if it wasn't for the technology.
Yeah.
There are so many studies that actually say that.
Mm-hmm. So back into the email. He just wants to know about things that impact our health and safety, not really anything else. Okay, well, has he always been this person?
That's a good question, too. Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. I'm willing to bet that they've run out of things to talk about that interest him.
Okay.
I'm willing to bet that they do not share hobbies. Because if they shared hobbies like photography and a new camera lens came out, and I get a notification like, hey, this new camera lens came out. I'm like, babe, new camera lens.
Running across the
and
house.
we have conversations about it. What will we use it for? Like, oh, that would be super fast lens or the bokeh, blah, 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 blah. Like, because we share a hobby.
Right.
Poker tournaments that could be coming to Sarasota. We would have a conversation about that. Things that we share a hobby in, we have discussions about that is the two of us enjoying that moment.
Right.
I'm not into plants. You're not into whiskey. We appease each other. We get excited because the other person's excited, but we don't care about each other's hobbies on that level.
Right.
So I can't engage the plant conversation with you. I'm just like, yeah, babe, that's super cool. You could be showing me something that you picked out of the grass two lots over that was just growing there. You came home with cat of nine tails one day and you're like, look, this is super exciting. I'm like, yeah, they kind of grow here. Like,
but now I have them in case
you need to
somebody gets shot.
yeah, it works for plugging bullet wounds and starting fires.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, we might have one more day of cold weather. We could have a fire. I'm ready.
Yeah, right. And I can even show you how to light them with a ferrocerium rod. You know, we could turn that into a whole learning experience. See, now we're having a conversation about something that's one of your hobbies.
Oh my gosh.
You see how easy that is? We just connected on something because I listened to what you had to say.
But you also just tied it into, I did my feminine woman thing, and now you're going to be the provider doing the fucking thing. Oh my God.
That was not intentional, but
you did it.
but that's just it. Most people, when you've been together for somebody for a very long time and you know each other in and out,
Right.
there's not exciting things to talk about anymore. However, I'm willing to bet if you were to go on a date and pick 3 things your partner doesn't know, you guys will talk like you were dating again, because they're not going to know about the first time you heard Jam Pony on the radio or the first time you went roller skating, or, you know what I mean? Like those kind of weird conversations don't get talked about because they're not relevant. It's just memories.
Right.
But you get them engaged and you have conversations about it. Like that's the free flowing conversation that happens in the dating phase when you're still trying to learn about the person. People forget what it is to be human.
They really do.
Yeah.
They really do.
Here's a thought. Life is a series of things that you pay attention to. So if you are in a relationship with somebody and you are not able to have ongoing conversations, you're not paying attention to your person. So on your deathbed, when your life flashes before your eyes and everything that you paid attention to goes, how many truly good, memorable moments will you have with your person? Because their plant hobby is not important to you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't remember seeing them smile in their excitement over the things that made them happy because you were too engaged with your own shit to just take a minute to listen to what's amping them up.
Mm.
Yeah. Your life is a series of events that you paid attention to.
Thank you for living life with me.
We are living this motherfucker.
Like, I just had a whole thought process. There will be people on their deathbed who only remember partying or blacking out and not remembering shit, but they remember that they blacked out because they went out and then they're home.
Right.
They're going to remember arguments and pettiness and drama and gossiping and trying to get ahead of everybody else while drowning somebody else to get there.
Yep.
And I'm going to remember walking through the Valley of Fire and standing on the top of a lighthouse. I'm going to start crying, but...
It's not a podcast, so Peaches cries.
I've already cried like 4 times, though. All right, back into the email. I have multiple points. 1, I feel like being a homemaker means my job is a house and he is my boss.
No.
That makes me uncomfortable.
That means you're not a team.
Therefore, back into the email, I am more comfortable running the day-to-day by him for approval, if that makes sense. That doesn't make sense.
Right, especially if he doesn't care. That sounds like a you problem.
That sounds like you have no sense of self. And your existence is based off of what somebody else says you're good or not good at. That's a problem for me. That's not a healthy mindset. I am the boss of this household.
Yeah.
Like, you walk into these 4 corners. By my rules, fuckers.
Well, yeah. Dave Chappelle said that men buy nice houses because women like nice houses. Mm-hmm. Men buy nice cars because women like nice cars. Dave Chappelle said that if we could fuck a woman in a cardboard box, we would live in cardboard boxes. Men have stature because women want men with stature.
So as a man,
this is your fucking house.
No, like as a man though, how true is that?
It's very true. Oh, that I love my Mercedes.
Okay.
I love my fucking car. I get in that car and have like a whole gambit of emotions every time I push the start button.
Yeah.
When my car goes, "Good afternoon, Mr. Burkett," I'm like, "Good afternoon, Mercedes."
He does do that.
Mercedes, I'm not feeling this purple interior light. Mercedes, yes, Mr. Burkett. Change the interior light to red. I'm feeling red today. Red. I love my fucking car.
Yeah.
But that's been a dream of mine for decades, and I have it. So like, that's a me thing. I don't need this. I don't need it. It's nice to have the big fucking house because we had podcast rooms and we have a gym and we have the property and all of that. If I could have a house that's half this size on 3 times the land, I would much rather have that.
I second that.
Yeah. But so yeah, there's a truth to that. We want the nice extravagant shit because we know that other people value that more than we do. Women value that more than we do.
Okay.
And I would say that may not be true for everyone, but I would say, but as a vast majority, that is an accurate statement. If you want a new gecko tank.
I do.
And it's one of those things that we'll get around to doing eventually. It's not a priority to me. It's not really a priority to you. It's just one of those things that you want.
We're going to upgrade them a little bit.
But every time you come and you're like, I need a new bookcase or I want this, and you're specific, can I have $450 for this? Yeah, here you go. Because I don't have to do anything about it. Like, this is your house. If you want these things and you do it, I don't give a shit. My bed's comfortable. My spot on the couch is not occupied. The AC is set to 74. And there's soda in the refrigerator, energy drinks in the whiskey room. Internet works.
Unlimited booty.
All the booty. But that's what matters to me in the house.
Yeah.
But you can't put booty on that loose because I get the booty out of the house too.
I would argue and say you can put it in the house because there are men who don't get it in their house.
Yeah, but I ain't other men.
Right.
About to be real fucking arrogant and be like, other men don't have what I have in life. Anyways, I don't know how their conversations go in terms of if she has to ask him to spend money Is that the same thing as running it by him? Like, I'm not in control of the finances. He is, and I want to spend $1,000 to redecorate the entire back porch with begonias. I don't even know if that's a thing, but
It is, and I do want to redo the back porch. Now that you've mentioned
but that's just it. Like, that's so. Is that asking for permission to do the things, or is that running by? Because if you were like, hey, I want to remodel the kitchen, that's you running it by me.
Right.
Because if you decided to start construction on the kitchen and hired a contractor and signed a contract for $50,000 to redo all of this, and
And they
I
just
didn't
hit
know
you with
about
the
it.
bill.
Yeah, hey, by the way, I just spent $50,000. You fucking did what? Like, that matters.
Right.
So how are you running it by your person? What are you running by your person? Because I would call that considering somebody else's feelings and thoughts on things. I would consider that being a teammate to see how they feel about it, or to see if the money's there, or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That needs to happen. I feel like that's normal communication between two people to make a house work.
Right.
I have final decision making, so I do get to say yes or no on the kitchen if you wanted to remodel it. But I know that if you really wanted to remodel the kitchen, we would start setting funds aside to remodel the kitchen, and I would eventually make that happen. And I am talking to somebody to make that happen. This is
I was
actually
just
something
about to
that's
say,
happening.
this is a real life thing. I did come to you and say I fucking hate our kitchen.
Right. Well, and I hate it too. I've hated it for a long fucking time.
And you've been taking videos and sending photos and
right, trying to get to the point where we can do that. But it's one of those things that, like, if I wasn't the final decision maker, we would still have to have these discussions. You couldn't make the decisions without me because I handle our finances.
right.
That matters.
Even if it was a no, you now know something that will make me happy in the future.
Right.
You can put it in your little Rolodex of, all right, what am I going to surprise her with next year?
Right.
This is the final sentence on the first point. I don't know if I read it or not, so I'm just going to read it. Not that I'm insecure or need his approval, but that it's his money and his life too, question mark. So I'm going to reread that whole thing because that sentence doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
I feel like being a homemaker means my job is the house and he is my boss. Therefore, I am more comfortable running the day-to-day by him for approval, if that makes sense. Not that I'm insecure or need his approval, but that it's his money and his life too. So what does being a homemaker have to do with spending his money? His money.
Yeah, that none of that makes sense to me.
Okay.
I think that's a her problem.
Okay.
There's a lot. That's not a simple statement. There's a whole lot of underlying shit that comes to that. And we don't know the underlying shit that would make her feel that way, so that we can't touch on that.
Okay. Second point, my job may be a job in his eyes, but for me it's my life, so I feel like my partner should care about my life. You just called your partner your boss, and bosses don't give a fuck about their employees' personal lives.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Some of them do, and it's to a certain extent. Associating your husband to being your boss, I feel, removes any sort of intimacy that there could be.
Right.
That's such a strange thought process for me. I could never look at you as being my husband and being my boss. What do you think?
Can you read it again? There was something that she said there, and it's there, but it's not fully formed yet.
My job may be a job in his eyes, but for me, it's my life.
Okay. That.
Okay.
It's not your life. It's our life. Right? Like, if you were still doing the stay-at-home wife exclusive thing, everything that you do in the house affects me.
Correct.
To a degree. It is our life, especially if he handles the finances. She called it his money instead of our money. Like, that says a lot too.
Yeah, that's a red flag for me.
So in this whole scenario, like, if your entire life revolves around being a homemaker, where does your wife moniker fit? Like, on your plaque of who you are as a person, where does wife fall? Is homemaker first, mother, and then wife? Or homemaker, mother, friend, Hobby Lobby lover, Starbucks lover, Target lover,
Okay.
wife? Like,
I'm going to have to interrupt you because the way that she has laid out how she views herself, I don't think homemaker is the term. I would say employee.
Well, that's how she views it.
That is how she views it. So I think in this context, I would say employee, mother, whatever,
Right.
wife.
Well, we don't even know if she's a mom. I made that up.
When I think of a homemaker, I think of
Susie, me too.
no. When I think of a homemaker, I think of, the man comes home, she's nurturing, they're in love. It's fucking fairy tale. Bread is baking, and homemade butter and jams, and the child's in a little Victorian outfit.
Victorian outfit.
Yeah.
You say homemaker, and I think the 1950s housewife wearing
Yeah.
an apron, like you said, baking bread, got a drink ready to go, like that.
But it's a wife.
Right, it's a wife.
Yeah.
There's a team there.
The way that she presented homemaker, it sounds like an employee.
Right.
I don't.
Well, I mean, that whole thing sounded like that could be the case.
Yeah.
His money has to run things by him for the house. Mm-hmm. There's not an ebb and flow there.
She views him as his boss, as her boss.
It's a problem. There can't be
Right.
intimacy. Well, I mean, there could be intimacy in that. Some people want to fuck their boss, but
The correlation between the husband and the boss, outside of working at your tattoo shop, before we started courting and dating and all of that, every job that I've had, I've never looked at my boss in any sort of way intimately.
yeah.
Saying that you view your husband as your boss and not as your husband, I don't know. It gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. It just indicates that they're not where they need to be intimately.
Yeah. Number 3, he is my partner. I genuinely want his advice on any given situation because I value his thoughts, ideas, and perspectives. 4, I'm by myself minus a 1-year-old all day.
So there is a kid.
I don't usually talk with anyone but him, and I get excited to tell him about things that happen when he gets home.
So she's lonely.
Why is that, though?
Probably by choice because she's a mom.
Right. I have people I talk to, though.
Right.
There are things that I talk to my lady friends I don't talk to you about because it's women shit. You're if it is vastly important and will unlock a new level to knowing me, I will 100% tell you.
Right. But how many women out there fall into that mother category that make their entire lives about their children and not actually make their entire lives about their children, but that's what they portray. So their conversations are always negative. It's always about my kids. It's always shit talking the husband. And that circle of bullshit is what they focus their life around. That conversation came up in your garden episode with the African hippie. She said the same thing. She's like, I don't have mommy friends because all they want to talk about is their kids and their dog and their husband. She's like, don't you dance or paint or play music or do something what do you do? People don't do that anymore. They wrap up, they wear that little label with their identity on it. And that's what they have to be. They have to fit inside of that little label box. And they can't be multiple labels because that would be too inconvenient on that shirt they wear.
Right.
It's got to be nice and tiny.
And neat.
Got to really put yourself in that box. Unlimited power, itty bitty living space.
I enjoy you. You make life fun.
I try.
It's hurtful when he shuts me down and doesn't want to hear about the crazy flat earther I met at the library or whatever it may be. His side.
Oh.
1, he responds that I'm not making executive decisions on my own when the house management is my job and I shouldn't bother him with it.
Agreed.
I do agree with that. I make 1,000 decisions a day that don't involve you.
Yep.
What kind of soap I'm using in the dishwasher doesn't matter to you.
Nope.
What
Not
kind
even
of,
a little bit.
What kind of laundry detergent I'm buying doesn't matter to you as long as it's within the brand that we use.
Right. But that's us understanding what is and what is not acceptable.
Right.
She should know those things.
Yeah. That falls into your wifely duties. You should be able to make executive decisions on your own regarding the house without your husband's input because he's trusting you in that role.
Right. Does he call and be like, hey, babe, I have a meeting with so-and-so in an hour. How much of a budget do I have through the company to negotiate? That's not your job. It's his job.
Right.
Babe, I have to have a Word document to my boss in 15 minutes. Should I use extrapolate or extract? Okay, got it. Like that's how I view that.
Right. That's those snap, quick decisions that can be made within a second.
Right. That nobody else needs to make. That's a very easy, that's your job.
Food is an executive decision in our household, and I make it solely 99.9% of the time. The other day, I was like, my foot's broken, the kids are on my nerves, and I'm not making a decision about dinner. Figure it out.
Outback. That's your job, though.
It is my job. And I know you well enough to know what you'll eat. 9 times out of 10, I know exactly what you want. There might be the off-ball time.
Wife, mother, homemaker.
Mm-hmm.
That's the priorities of your list. And as such, you know what I eat, you know what the kids eat, and you make the decisions about the house.
Right.
Okay.
There will be every once in a while where I'm like, do you want the burger or the steak?
Yeah, because sometimes that matters.
It does. I don't have to ask you, how do you want your steak cooked? What do you want on your burger? What kind of side do you want? I know all that shit. Which one do you want? Tell me and I got it.
I would go as far as to say that you don't really even have to ask because I'm not going to be mad about either one of them.
Okay.
That's one of those decisions. I'm getting meat.
Noted.
And potatoes.
I will never ask you again.
It doesn't matter. I will eat whatever you order.
Okay.
If you were like salmon, I'd be, what the fuck is this? Or a salad. Are we on a diet that I don't know about? What is this rabbit food? Did we get a pet? Is there a rabbit in the house? Like,
right.
Yeah. But the rest of that shit, like, I don't want to have to make those decisions. It's hard enough having to pick out my fucking outfit every day. Mm-hmm. I have so much shit going on that shit doesn't matter to me. No, you can't.
Oh, right,
I'm
your
not
texture
wearing
thing.
I'm not wearing fucking PT shorts every day.
I wouldn't put you in PT
Yes,
shorts
you would.
every day. I know what I would want to see you in, and I know what you would realistically wear. Don't take away something that I could be amazing at because you think I'm gonna be goofy.
Okay. Still not gonna happen, but okay.
I know you have your texture thing, and you're.
I do.
You might cycle through 3 shirts, and
It happens.
so I'm not. I understand why that's not an option. Number 2, he says that he doesn't sit and tell me about his job and that he has a hard time finding the energy to care about my job after working all day. To be fair, I ask about his job and we talk about it quite a bit, but it is a very technical position, so we don't gab about it every day. We do talk about his coworkers or things that happen in the office.
Why not talk about something else?
Yeah, y'all don't have to talk about work. What made you happy today? I watched this on TV and they said something that made me think of you and I missed you today.
Yeah, working a 40 to 60 hour work week and then coming home and talking about work sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, you're not letting go of the work day at that point.
Right.
Disconnect.
Yeah. Working 40 to 60 hours a week and then coming home to listen to someone else complain about the home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 3, he says I'm talking too much as soon as he gets home and he needs time to decompress.
Damn. That's kind of cold. How does that look though? Because that matters.
Right. If this has been, you guys have been living together for 3 years and every single day he comes home, he's like, babe, not right now. Like I need time to rest.
Yeah.
And that gets overlooked every single day. And he's constantly repeating himself. I too would be like, can you just give me 1 fucking minute? Like I've told you multiple times that I need at least 10 minutes when I get home so that I can transition and be the husband that you need. I can't be hit with shit right off the bat when I get home.
Yeah. Give me 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I also understand the lack of connection she has with people. Like I said earlier, she's lonely.
Right.
So he's coming home and she's super fucking excited to see him and all he wants to do is relax. So where he has had social interactions all day long and his social battery is at 6%, hers is at 96% because she's just been dealing with a 1-year-old and hasn't talked to fucking anyone all day. So he walks through the door looking to recharge a little bit and she inundates him with psychobabble and like...
I'm going to pause you because she just said that he shuts me down and doesn't want to hear about the flat earther I met at the library. So she is going out and having social interactions and talking with people. And
You're right. I still stand by what I said with the social batteries, though.
I agree with the social batteries, definitely. If she's going out and having one conversation with a flat earther at the library and is home for the rest of the day, she's maybe at 80%. He's getting home at 6%. That man's drained the minute he walks in because that 6%'s gone. I agree with all of that.
Yeah. But again, in the decompression time matters, we have to adjust. If he's the boss and he has to come home and become the husband, there's a transition that has to be there. You don't want your man to be in boss mode or to be in work mode, especially if he's a blue collar worker.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine coming home and be like, "Where's my dinner, you cocksucker?" Because where's my hammer, you cocksucker? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I wanted to say that twice. AJ, you can bleep one of those, but at least leave one in there. But it's one of those things that like that kind of conversation is very prevalent in a blue collar work field. So to come home and to talk to your person like that, you don't want that. You wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want me to talk to you like that.
No, I would be like, okay, you need to
go
back out to your truck and try again.
Yeah. Go back outside, get out of your vehicle, come back in and try again, because this is definitely not how I wanted to start my evening. While you're out there, take that attitude off and hang it on the hook outside. When you leave tomorrow morning, you can put that back on when you go.
Save it for the boys, not me.
Yep. That shit matters.
It does. I understand his side and he understands mine. We are at a standstill because neither is changing.
This is a really simple solution, though.
Trees would not be able to survive if they did not bend and flow with the wind that pushed
That's right. It's also why their roots are so thick.
Right. Y'all are going to stand where you stand because neither of you want to budge and you're changing, and this relationship is going to crumble.
Yeah. This is easy. He needs a decompression time, 20, 30 minutes when he gets home where he's not inundated with nonsense. Let him shower, get changed, relax, just get a drink, whatever it is that he does when he gets home. And then when you have a conversation, don't talk to him about work and don't talk to him about the home. Save that shit before you go to bed. Hey, I was thinking about upgrading the garden out back today. How do you feel about that? I don't feel about that. You can do whatever you want, babe. As long as it makes you happy, that's fine. The next conversation needs to be, babe, I bought these new plants today. I'm very excited about the back porch. Will you come and look? Because you're requesting connection. You're not asking for advice. You're not asking for decision making. You're not adding on to the decision fatigue. Like, the breakdown in all of this is that you guys aren't communicating the same way. Men don't need the emotional connection that you have. I need the facts. Babe, I need $450 for blah, blah, blah. Here's $450. Go do your thing. Babe, I was thinking about buying this and this and this and this and this and maybe some of this and some of that over there. And you lost me after the second thing. How much money do you need?
Right.
And then when you get it all set up and you want to show it off, I'll be excited because I can see the final product. If you need advice from me, like with the terrarium thing, and you guys are going to build a bioorganic fucking all-enclosed thing, I'll listen to all of that because it's exciting and it affects the animals in the house. Like, that's a thing. But if you were talking about buying your plants out there, knowing that I don't have an interest in plants the way you do, I can feign excitement. I can be excited because you're excited. I don't go on the back porch. I walk through the back porch to get to the gym. Otherwise, I don't go out there. When we use the hot tub, I don't ever go out or to shut the door. Right. Because the kids leave the screen door open. I don't use the back porch. That's yours. That's your woman area. Just like you don't ever just come in here and drink whiskey. Like, I don't know. I would never ask you about, that's a lie. I would ask you about what you think because I value your opinion on certain things. Right. And that's different than trying to list out a whole bunch of shit you want to do knowing that I'm not going to care about it. Right. I don't know.
So there's a difference between showing me bottles that you're excited about going out and hunting and then listing every single store we're going to hit and why we're hitting it.
Right.
I don't know why the fuck we're driving to Naples and then we're going to Cape Coral. Okay. Show me the bottles. What are we getting so I can be stoked with you?
Right. Get a game plan.
Right. It also matters on what time you're approaching him with these conversations. If he is in the middle of something on his phone and he's decompressing and you just start babbling about plants, he's trying to decompress. I could understand how one's first initial reaction is, I don't care. Like, leave me alone.
So on the plant thing. Okay. 6:45 in the morning, I'm walking out here every morning to get either a cup of coffee, tobeabetterbrew.com, or an energy drink. If I'm walking back through the kitchen and you started having a conversation with me about plants or pretty much anything, it's not going to go the same as it would if it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon and you were having a conversation about plants. Right. Timing matters.
I also ask you if you're available for a conversation.
Yeah. Where's your brain capacity at kind of thing?
Like, where are you at? Are you in the middle of something?
Yeah.
And I also preface with, I need your opinion. Like, I've thought about this for weeks. I don't know what I want to do. What would you do? I know you don't care about plants. Pick a color. What color do you like?
Yeah. But it is a request for connection and problem solving. And in that scenario, I need your opinion about this is very different than
Just wanting to show off.
telling me what you want. Because if you tell me that you want my opinion, I get the opportunity to fill your request for attention and fix something because I'm problem solving.
Yep.
Tomatoes.
I know I need to develop a friend group to gab with. It's freaking hard to find friends.
Yeah, it's because people suck.
People really do suck. I know I need to give him space when he gets home. Oh, so hard when that space can last until 8 or 9 o'clock. He doesn't want to hear about my stupid stuff. I get it. I do.
She's lonely as fuck.
She is really lonely as fuck. Oh. He doesn't want to hear about my stupid stuff. I get it. I do. None of my shit is stupid. Nothing I am interested in is stupid. Even if you're not interested in it, if you hit me with it's stupid, no, it's not. And you just showed me that I can't share anything with you.
Yeah.
You now have shut me off. You have shut off a part of me that you will probably never get back, and you will never have the same version of me again.
Yeah. That also can look like saying I don't care. And we've had that discussion. And this is not a hypothetical. You've come to me with something. I'm like, babe, I don't give a shit. And you're like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care, babe. You do whatever's going to make you happy. And you're like, I'm like, I'm not shitting on what you're doing. When I say I don't give a shit, it's not that I don't give a shit about you. It's that this is your house. And you don't have to come to me for instructions. If you want a pink bathroom, fucking paint the bathroom pink. I don't care.
You would never allow that.
I don't care. Just leave the toilet area a normal color because I spend more time in there than the actual. But I don't give a shit.
Okay.
But if you were to, I want to paint the whiskey room pink. Whoa, bitch, slow down. Like, this is my whiskey room. We're not doing that. You can paint the wall like near it pink, but I need my space, right?
Right.
But the whole point of that and me saying that the one time that I did that to you is not that I don't give a shit about you. It's that I want you to do whatever makes you happy, and you don't have to come to me with every little thing. And that's what it sounds like was there. And it sounds like he doesn't know how to approach it. Because at the time, I didn't know how to approach it either. And like, we did have a hiccup. It wasn't a disruption. It was just a quick like, whoa. And I'm like, whoa. Like, I didn't mean it the way that you took it. And I didn't mean for you to take it the way that you took it.
We now have the understanding that we don't talk like that.
Right. I don't do that shit no more. Now I'm like, just do whatever makes you happy, babe. Because that sounds very different than I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
That's the difference between talking to my best friend and talking to my wife, or talking to my coworker and talking to my wife.
Correct.
Because when Sean's like, bro, I want to whatever, I don't give a shit, do it. But you're going, yeah, I am. I don't give a shit. Like,
yeah,
it matters.
It certainly does matter. How do we resolve this and move on? It's exhausting having the same argument over and over.
It is exhausting. It's because you guys aren't, you're arguing.
You guys are arguing and you guys are unwavering in your stances.
You will not find resolution of conflict during conflict.
Correct.
So if you're arguing, nothing's going to get resolved. The resolution has to come when you guys are calm and having a discussion versus an argument. You need to figure out how to talk to each other, and you need to both be willing to change. And as you said, flow with things, because there's going to have to be changes made on both sides in order to make this work. I also don't think that it's unreasonable for him to give you time to unload about your day and about the stupid flat earther shit from the library, or however she worded that. Yeah. I don't want to hear about some of that shit. There's times that you're talking about things that I am 100% disinterested in, but I'm going to give you my attention and I'm going to listen because it is a request for connection. And when you understand that, it changes the entire underlying thing about the conversation, right? Like, let's say you and Jasmine went to a garden and some things happened, and it was a cool plant, and you saw a lizard and a bird and an acorn, and you're trying to tell me all this shit like none of this is going to affect my day. I have editing to do. I have to set interviews. I have to pay for hotels. I have a whole bunch of other shit that is important to me that I need to take care of. but you are talking to me right now, and I know that you're talking to me because you want me to know about your day and you want me to be engaged. So I put all that shit on the back burner and I listen. And I even though I'm not invested in what's happening, and we have a quick little discussion, 5 minutes later, I forget everything that you said and I go back to doing the shit that I needed to do. You feel emotionally valid because I fill into you. I listen. We have our moment. Life goes on. 3 weeks from now, if you're like, hey, remember the acorn thing? I'll be like, nope. You'd be like, I told you all about it. I'm like, I'm sure you did. You have to tell me again. And you'll tell me again, and we'll have a whole nother request for connection that gets satisfied. And then we have another conversation about the acorn. If I'm like, babe, I need to about business, and you're like, okay, you don't have to do that shit. I do. So unless it's affecting your day and it's something that you have to commit to memory because you also have murder mystery interviews, emails that have to go out, emails that have to be responded to, group shit, fucking Peach's email, all of that nonsense that you have to do that I have nothing to do with. I know that when I come to you with things that are not relevant to your life, you're not going to remember them the same way.
Right.
But taking that quick little interaction and devoting 30 minutes to a conversation is not hurting anyone. You are filling your person up. They are filling you up. You're showing that you still care what they have to say. Because I guarantee you, when you guys first started dating, you were hanging on every fucking word.
Oh, yeah.
Because you wanted to know everything you could know about this person. At some point along the journey of your life, you stop putting your person as a priority. And that's the difference. I still put you as a priority even if I don't care about those things, because it's not about me caring about those things. It's about me caring about you.
Right.
Because when we first started dating, if you were into plants and you were like, moon water. What the fuck is moon water? You explain it. I'm like, oh, cool. Hey, babe, it's a full moon. Don't forget to put your jar out, because I was listening. I don't give a fuck about moon water. It's water in a jar.
And it's been affected by the energy of the moon.
Whatever. Makes you happy.
It does.
And I listened to that whole thing, even though I still don't give a shit about moon water.
You still remind me, though.
Right, because it makes you happy. I was able to fulfill that request for connection because I listened to you. And so, like, when I hear you talking about things that I'm not interested in, and I can tell that you're getting excited, I make mental notes. Gourmet chocolate, new knife set, Post-it notes around the house. We had a conversation on a podcast where if I love you on a napkin and slid it over the dinner table, you would keep it. I started writing notes.
I have every single one. I framed some of them.
But those things it's simple, just listening.
Yeah.
I don't have to retain everything you said. When I read a book, I don't retain the entire book. I retain the golden nugget. The rest of the book is irrelevant. I have to listen to it again. I might get a different nugget because I might not need to hear the rest of that book right now. I may have just needed that one sentence.
Right.
And I'll forget everything else. And somebody will be like, hey, you remember when you read da-da-da-da-da? And I'm like, nope. But I'll read it again because I don't remember any of that. Because it didn't matter to my life at that point. It's the same thing. Your life is a series of things you pay attention to. His life is a series of work. Hers is a series of isolation. He doesn't have the emotional energy or the social battery to be super engaged when he gets off of work, and she is over energized and wanting to engage with him because her life revolves around the house, the kid, and him. His life is revolving around being a provider, his job, and not her.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that he doesn't love his woman, because obviously if he's working to take care of his kid and his woman, he does.
Mm-hmm.
But
a disconnect.
There is a disconnect. It sounds to me like he's not engaged. Mm-hmm. Can always make more money. Maybe you need to leave work an hour earlier than you do.
Yeah. I'm also going to ask, how clingy are you? Like, are you also blowing his phone up throughout the day while he's at work and he's coming home, and you're also hitting him with all this energy when he gets home? If you're over inundating him with information constantly, I would understand why he's exhausted. Yeah. Also, if you're not regulating yourself, if you're not able to do anything on your own, you're upset, you're calling him. The baby does something, you're calling him. There is that leans more into that codependency. Yeah.
That could be a problem too.
Right. We have like 30 minutes. Do you want to do one more?
I do not. It's 2:15. So
What?
we're 2 hours and 15 minutes in. Sorry.
I was like, is my clock wrong?
No, it'll probably be a 2-hour podcast by the time we're done. I don't want to do them more than 2 hours. So
Okay.
With that being said, guys, remember you are the authors of your own life.
So grab a pen.
And we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.